Hey there, I'm Tony DeCopel. This is The Uplift. We got a great show for you, a great cast of characters as well. Among them, a teen who recently received a diploma and a degree at the very same time. How'd she earn this pair? Despite the odds, we'll get into it. Also, a debate teacher who inspired countless kids to get up on that stage and find their voice, changing their lives forever. And someone you recognize, Owen Wilson. You know him from comedies like Zoolander and Wedding Crashers, but now he's becoming known for golf. Nate Burleson played 18 full holes with him to find out why. All of that and more heartwarming news. You know exactly what you're watching, The Uplift. Welcome to The Uplift, the show that lifts you up for at least the next 30 minutes. I like to say me as well. And we're going to begin with a follow-up from our friend David Begnaud, who recently introduced us to a group of students who found their voices through speech and debate. Well, now you're going to meet a coach who helped get students on that debate stage and changed their lives.
What? It was a heartfelt surprise that brought this longtime speech and debate teacher to tears. A well-deserved tribute for an unsung hero.
What? They posted? Yeah.
Deb Gowie is one of the stars of the new documentary Speak, which shines a spotlight on this unique and empowering sport.
There's something in the water here.
She coaches in rural West Texas.
One kid didn't even own a suitcase before we started traveling. They have dirt floors. We have students that don't have heat or water. This is true poverty.
But Deb knew if they just found their voice, she could do the rest.
And I'd pay for the hotel rooms, the food.
When they sense a storm.
The single mother, who is a breast cancer survivor, even paid their entry fees with money that she saved from selling her own home to move here.
What was it last year? Y'all aren't going to make it to state. What'd we do? Made it to state. They're not going to make it to nationals. What'd we do? We made it to nationals.
But she admits they barely made it to nationals. In that minibus Deb drove herself.
And when we pulled up in our little awkward minibus, they were like, "Who's Brownfield? And what are they doing here?" And we went, "Hi, world. Nice to meet you."
And that student, right there in the front row, wasn't just her team's top performer.
Hey, don't let that get in your head. Come on.
She's also Deb's daughter, Noor, whose senior year speech was about someone else very dear to them.
Everyone views him as a roadblock in our way, when really he's just a passenger riding beside us.
That passenger, who's also often a passenger on Deb's bus, is her son, Noah.
Day 8. Day 16. Today is day 21.
Noah can spend months at a time in the hospital because of a severe form of epilepsy called Lennox-Gastaut syndrome, which leads him to have seizures. Noah needs about 24 medicines every day, and Deb lovingly attends to his every need, all the while coming to terms with the reality that she may lose him.
Here we go.
You see, kids with Noah's condition often die from seizures in their sleep. So Deb and Noor took turns staying awake with him.
And I know this sounds terrible, but what has helped was watching other parents lose their children, because I see how strong they are. And I think we can do this.
And to help her do it, we decided to surprise Deb over the weekend in Des Moines, Iowa on her sport's biggest stage, at the National Speech and Debate Tournament, where I was proud to serve as MC.
Deb, you are the quintessential unsung hero. You are an extraordinary mother, an extraordinary coach, and you are an inspirational figure for those of us watching the way you love your son and what you do for him. And I told my friends at Canva about you, and they love unsung heroes. And so, Deb, Canva is sending you back to Texas with $100,000. Tell me what's going through your head right now.
I'm just in disbelief. Like, we're $4 million in medical debt right now. And so, Noah just got out of the hospital. He spent 5 months in the hospital, and Nora and I took turns being at bedside. It's been a stressful year.
A hard year indeed that was just made a little bit easier by Canva and the NSDA, the National Speech and Debate Association, which is run by Scott One.
What has the NSDA, the sport, the organization, meant to you?
Oh my gosh, it's everything, because these kids, especially the kids that I teach that are in the middle of nowhere, yet they get that opportunity to use their voices and to advocate for themselves.
Listen, we gave $100,000 to Deb. And so I want to say on behalf of students, because I once was one, Mr. One, congratulations on 100 years, and Canva is also giving $100,000 to the NSDA.
Yeah! Are you kidding me?
No joke!
It's no joke!
Got you!
You got me!
Got you!
You did that. And tonight is a great night!
Coming up, her parents didn't finish elementary school, but education was important to her family, and now she's made them proud by earning 2 major qualifications at the very same time. A powerful story of sacrifice and hard work, too. That's coming up. Our next story is about a teen who recently received a college degree at her high school graduation. Yes, you heard that right. She sacrificed and she worked hard to get there, and so did her parents, by the way, who weren't able to get an education themselves. Here's Susan Elizabeth Littlefield from CBS News, Minnesota.
What all's going on?
I will be graduating both college and high school, which is crazy to say considering the fact that my parents didn't even get to finish elementary. So just doing milestone after milestone for my family is something I'm very, very privileged and lucky to be able to do.
Where Sabrine's parents come from, school isn't free. Education comes at a cost that few can pay.
My parents came to the country and the only thing in their mind was to just rebuild. They saw war. They were very young. They weren't able to go to elementary school, go to middle school, go to high school. They had so many dreams, but because of their environment, they had to, in a sense, they had to give up on that.
But they never gave up on their children, raising them to treasure education.
All of the aspirations my parents wanted, it's now set on me not only to fulfill it, but also to show them that all of their sacrifices, everything that they gave up on, they're able to say, hey, it was actually worth it.
Clearly, it was. Sabrine decided to make some sacrifices of her own. Can you think of things you've given up or?
Sleep. A lot of sleep, a lot of hangout opportunities, a text from your friend, can we go out? And you have to be like, no, I have to study for a final. Or, you know, you really just want to live out being a teenager as much as you can, but you have to kind of ground yourself and be like, as much as I am a teenager, I'm also a college student. And I have to put out those responsibilities before anything else.
Which is challenging. At times, the whole situation was too.
As a first-generation high school and college student, what was the most difficult thing for me is the fact that I didn't have connections. Especially when it comes to the medical field, you have to be able to shadow a doctor, be able to get an advisor, and it was all of these things that I had no access to. I didn't have anyone in my family who was a doctor. I didn't have anyone in my family who was a college graduate, let alone a high school graduate. And to see, you know, some of my peers be able to rack those opportunities and I wasn't able to, it was really disheartening because it was like my dreams were just as valid as theirs. It's just that my circumstances are different, and I don't think that should, declare that I'm less deserving of something.
And she clearly is deserving. She has 2 degrees and one huge dream. You've always been eye on the prize.
Yes.
And what is the prize?
The prize is to become a surgeon and be able to go back to Somalia and actually help my community. We have a lot of healthcare disparities where I'm from, and so it's kind of up to the newer generation that has the opportunity to not only be able to become educated, but also be able to reach out to other people, learn from new people, gain new perspectives, and go back to our country and fix it, because it's the youth that, help the country rebuild it and save lives. So that's the goal.
So you want to physically go back there?
Yeah, to try and help the healthcare system in any way possible.
And live there?
And live there and try and help people. Growing up, I would hear stories coming back from home of people who had such simple illnesses that couldn't be cured. Things that I could go to the hospital and just get a simple shot and I'd live my life. We have the worst child mortality rates back home for something as simple as influenza or malaria. And it's up to people who are Somali to go back to our country and to fix it and to save lives and to make sure that no child doesn't get to live to see their next birthday over something so simple as a measles shot.
So she's all in on that dream, heading to the University of Minnesota as a junior, pre-med. And she wants to pave the path that she was never able to walk. You want other people to have the support you didn't. Yeah. Tell me about that.
I know that it's very difficult to put yourself out there and cold email a bunch of doctors and be like, hey, can I be able to shadow you? Can I work with you? Can I get volunteer hours? And I know it was difficult for me, and the last thing I want to do is to make it difficult for another person and for them to think that their dreams and their aspirations don't matter. And so what I really want to do is create a nonprofit to make it easier for first-generation high school students who are interested in STEM or medicine to be able to pursue their dreams and be able to connect them with doctors, with engineers, with scientists, with people that they hope one day to be like.
So she'll keep working for those who came after her and those who came before her.
There's a Somali saying where basically your parents are your back, they're your shoulders, they're your legs, they're your eyes, and they're your heart. You can't live without those things. And so my parents, they advised me. They were there for me. They were my personal therapist. They were my personal cheerleader. And so to be able now to be like, hey, I did this, and all of your sacrifices were worth it.
No doubt there will be many emotions ahead and many more milestones. It seems like you can picture it.
I can picture it. The only thing is I need to live it. And in order to live it, I have to sacrifice everything I have now in order to reap what I sow later on. Nothing in life comes easy. It comes through hardship, it comes through struggle, and that's how you grow. And when you grow, it's like flower, then you bloom and you're very happy and you're successful. So that's kind of what's helping me just push on, even if it's tough, even if it's hard, even if I'm like, you know what, I really want to give up, I really want to get a night's sleep. I just have to keep going because it's there, I can see it.
Anything else that I haven't asked you that you want to say about this journey?
There are times where you do fail. There are times when it seems as if you've hit rock bottom, but you have to get up. It's a very cliche thing, but you really do need to get up. Everyone will fail at one point in life. I've had so many times where I've gotten a bad grade, I've had to redo things, I felt very insecure. And you have to be able to muster up what very little strength that may be there to push yourself back up. Because once you do so, in a year's time, you'll look back and you'll be like, I can't imagine, I really thought something so small was worth giving up everything that I hoped for. So that's something I think is really important, because I think a lot of people can relate to that. They can relate to that feeling of struggle, of hardship, of I'm not good enough, but they have to remind themselves that those are 1% of the 99 things that you feel. 99% of you wants it. You can't let that 1% get to you and stop you from fulfilling your dreams.
Sabine, I believe you'll do anything you want to do.
Hopefully. Thank you.
Coming up, we'll take you to a car wash in Florida that's not only providing jobs, but purpose to people with autism. School's out and many kids are getting summer jobs, but that's not easy for kids with autism. A company in Coral Springs, Florida, though, is working to change that, helping those kids get jobs and find a purpose. Here's Christian Benavides.
17-year-old Edward Cruz says working at Rising Tide Car Wash in Coral Springs, Florida is more than just a job. It's an opportunity that's not always easy to come by.
Majority of our staff is on the autism spectrum. I'm on the autism spectrum.
People with autism experience high unemployment rates. A 2017 NIH study put it at about 40%, while other estimates show it can be as high as 80%.
I'm really proud to be here. I mean, I'm happy with what the company does. I'm happy that, what we do, it really does make a difference.
Thomas Deary and his father started Rising Tide to give Thomas's younger brother Andrew, who has autism, and others like him, a chance to thrive.
It became really clear really quickly when he was graduating high school that we were going to have to take action in order for him to lead the full adult life that we knew he was capable of. And today he has friends, he has a community of peers, he has money in his pocket where he can go buy things that he wants, and it's brought our family together.
Rising Tide has more than 100 employees across 3 locations, and more than 80% have autism.
Not only are they going to do as good of a job as any other car wash, but they're going to do a better job. They're going to exceed expectations because our team genuinely want to be here. They genuinely want to do a great job and really satisfy the customer.
Andrew says his favorite part of work is the tire shine. The car wash has become a place where he's learned valuable skills and found friends.
It is great. The customers are very nice to me. They give us this money.
Helping workers with their own self-esteem and washing away stigma. Christian Benavides, CBS News, Coral Springs, Florida.
Coming up, something Zoolander, Wedding Crashers, golf, and our very own Nate Burleson have in common. Nate hits the links with Owen Wilson to talk about his acting career and his newest project. That's coming up next. Owen Wilson has been making us laugh for decades, and now he is combining his love of comedy with his love of golf. He sat down with our Nate Burleson to talk about his career, yes, and his newest project, too.
For one of the biggest names in Hollywood, a red carpet is par for the course for a celeb of his stature.
He's in such a zone, he doesn't even hear me.
But these days, Owen Wilson seems at his most natural.
He just disappears. It's just everything goes quiet. And it's like, you just see this guy.
Back on the football field. With the grass under his feet and the golf club in his hand.
I could do this. I could be here till sunset.
No doubt.
Like, you know.
No doubt. It's the inspiration behind his latest project.
This guy was a big pro golfer on television, everything.
The new Apple TV Plus series Stick, where Wilson plays a washed-up pro golfer, Bryce Cahill, who is searching for redemption in more ways than one.
What's the matter with you? You know, you could ease up a little on the whole Bryce Cahill broke-down failure.
How can you peel back the layers of a character and tap into all of those different complicated aspects of who Price is?
Yeah, well, it is sort of a reckoning that most people have to kind of face in life. That's
it's a very relatable role.
Yeah.
I was talking with some athletes this past weekend. A couple of guys were talking about their version of rock bottom. And what I learned is everybody has a different version of it. How would you define what rock bottom is?
We can all sort of look back at sort of bad things that happen where you're like, yeah, without that bad thing, then I don't get to this good thing. And so that idea of rock bottom, again, you know, just reminds me, you know, times in my life when I've had struggles, how much I needed other people, family, friends. And so that, I think, is sort of reflected in this show.
This portion of the interview is called the Coulda, Woulda, Shoulda Club.
Coulda, Woulda, Shoulda. You ain't lying.
Peace.
Brought to you by Nate and Owen.
Wilson has built a hit-filled resume after decades in this business.
Yeah, I thought I forgot about that. 2 a.m., you drag me 50 miles to watch you and some chick play Mahjong?
With some of Hollywood's most memorable roles and so many unforgettable films, like Wedding Crashers, Zoolander.
How's your portfolio?
And Meet the Parents.
Come on, baby.
At 56 years old, Wilson is working as much as he ever has. He's as funny off-screen as he is on it.
Hey, look at these two guys.
Hey!
Boy, if you see these two guys teamed
That's what
up.
I'm talking about.
And like his character, Price Cahill, Wilson has been transparent about his own mental health struggles.
Well, before I got into golf, I was playing a ton of tennis.
Really?
Yeah,
But today, he tells me he's taking time to enjoy his successes.
You have accomplished so much in front of and behind the camera. You have had such an impact on this film industry. Do you ever get to sit back and just say, you know what? I did pretty darn good.
Yeah. Well, you do kind of hear those, those studies that say, oh, people, the happiest time in people's lives are, after 50. And, as a kid, I was like, I don't know if that's going to be true. I really have a hard time believing that. But here, I do find myself, I feel pretty happy, pretty content. Early on, you'd make something, you're like, wow, if this doesn't do well, I don't know what I'm gonna do. It just felt like so much was riding on stuff, so much pressure to kind of do well and succeed. I do kind of feel, a little bit more sort of peace and, taking time to smell the roses.
That is our show. I hope it brightened your day. I hope it lifted you up. If for some reason it didn't, press play again. Those reruns, totally free. I'm gonna go find some good news. See you next time.